What an actually surprising month has been for Final Fantasy VII. FF7's gotten a lot of interesting traction over the last few weeks. The devs are talking about Part 3, the process, and debating on what to do next. We have a FF7 museum exhibition overseas in Dubai right now. I finally finished my hard mode guide video, which breaks the game. That's live right now. You guys can go check it out, by the way. That build that we highlight absolutely breaks the entire game. You can use it for almost every single challenge when it comes to a team-based format. It doesn't really work in solo form. Anytime you have a team running together in this game, you can dominate in the story and VR missions. We'll be linking it down below. And Hamaguchi is traveling to conventions with the team and talking about interviews of the game and a lot more. We got a lot to talk about, and I missed you guys so much. Help raise that 38% even higher. And now, let's get into this video. With Final Fantasy VII Rebirth being a strong contender for Game of the Year 2024, it's a no-brainer that Hamaguchi, Kitase, and many members of the dev team, as well as voice actors too, are constantly traveling still, taking interviews, and trending, keeping the game in circulation. Today we have an interesting topic that I want to hear a lot of you guys' opinions of down below. So make sure you drop a comment. Major shoutouts to Genki on Twitter. He was able to translate this recent interview involving Hamaguchi from CG World Japan. And it poses a really interesting question that I think many of us can influence given the circumstances of what is being said, at least what it's written right here. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth's director Naoki Hamaguchi said Rebirth took 4 years to develop in parallel with Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. He says that they are considering using Unreal Engine 5 for the final game, but believes what players want most is for them to deliver the game in good shape as soon as possible. He says that he'll be making a decision based on whether it'll be faster to switch to different engines or whether it's best to just make it all at once as it is right now. He also has a second part where he says he said the first year of FF7 Rebirth's development was prototyping period in which they prepared the development environment for PS5 in parallel with the development of Intergrade. They also used that first year to decide the direction of the game. So I do have a lot I want to say with this. First off, I do think Unreal Engine 4 is a solid base that they have been working with for quite some time. It's also a modified version, specifically the one that they were getting support with. And seemingly, it surprised me going from Remake to Rebirth with how much more progress they made within 4 years. Sticking to UE4 provides a great pro in the fact that they can reuse assets and such within development to help streamline a lot of things. For example, since we already have the world map already 60 or 70% designed, all they really have to do now is create the Rocket Town region, which was missing, extend the northern continent, implement Wutai, the underwater area, and a few more additions I'm sure they'll add new locations for. I mean, they said as much in previous interviews. And then there's also air travel with the High Wind, which is inevitable. Hamaguchi straight up said that all of that for sure is coming and that they are working on how they will be implementing it on the next game. Gotta love his transparency, not gonna lie. However, there are many moments we have been seeing within FF7 Rebirth that show that Unreal Engine 4 has not been consistent and bug-free. There are some glitches, lower textures, and how many of you guys remember the rare shadow bug that I had to endure, which paused my entire playthrough until Baby Seal had to create a workaround to fix it, literally reverse engineering the bug from the vanilla 1.0 patch. Unreal Engine 4 is far from perfect, and many games stray away from doing an open world game with it due to the limitations within the engine. It's absolutely very capable, of course, but not without issues and workarounds. Now, as far as questioning whether or not they should be switching to Unreal Engine 5 when it comes to the final and third part of Final Fantasy VII Remake, well, you gotta think about it, right? 2027 is the 30th year anniversary for Final Fantasy VII, the entire series. So it's a very reasonable timetable to expect the third part to appear around. Porting assets from Unreal Engine 4 to 5 has been stated to being an easy process because of its backwards compatibility, but of course, that depends on how compatible their existing assets will be. I'm no game dev. If there are any game devs in the comments, please drop some knowledge for us. Also, if things don't go according to plan, it could also increase the budget costs unnecessarily. UE5 would definitely reduce the amount of pop-in when panning the camera around and traveling within the world, and greatly benefit the air travel within the next edition of Final Fantasy VII. And oh my god, it'll make the weapon fights a crazy spectacle. I can't even imagine still to this day what they have in store for us when it comes to that. Between them, the underwater region, submarine traveling, and also Knights of the Round. There's a lot of large-scale things that should and will be coming to Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. See, I am only for Unreal Engine 5 if it does not overly delay the game. and causing problems within development and extending a significant amount of budget to where they have to skimp out on marketing. I mean, this is the finale of one of the most iconic games of all time. Going big is to be expected. The good thing is they wouldn't have to be building the game from the ground up again like what games like Tekken 8 had to do, but that also depends on how compatible their assets are. And the devs want to deliver us the game in the best shape as soon as possible. I think Hamaguchi and team know exactly what they're capable of and are going to use this time to decide whether or not the move is beneficial or not. I mean, they would know best. They said as much. They would only make this jump if it would greatly be worth it and benefit them and the community. But I am curious on how much the world traversing would be improved on if they were to make this switch. Unreal Engine 4 isn't a bad choice by any means, but I can't help but wonder how much crazier things could get. I just want this game to at least once in this life cycle release on launch and be playable in 4K 60 frames or higher, please. If there's some way that they could break that PS5 exclusivity clause, I would love it, but that's seemingly not going to be happening. Full steam ahead for Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3. News is going to be coming for the rest of the year. Seems very apparent to me. I mean, all the way until the Game Awards in December and then continuing on from there. The PlayStation 5 Pro, of course, is also on the horizon. PlayStation 6 is just a few years away. How much more will the hardware be improved on in terms of a cost-efficient basis? It's hard to say, but I really want to know what you guys think. Sound off in the comments below. Should the team be sticking with Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 being on Unreal Engine 4, or should they be moving it to Unreal Engine 5 and send one of the greatest games of all time off with a bang? Comment below. Let's get a discussion going. And by the way, it's also important to know that a few weeks ago, Jeff Keighley was actually in Japan and he was able to meet up at Square Enix HQ with Nomura and Hamaguchi and thank them for their ongoing support and vision for all their works, and congratulations on the release of FF7 Rebirth. Obviously, like we said before, Rebirth is a strong and a heavy game of the year contender for Jeff Keighley's Video Game Awards show at the very end of the year. And during the last few Jeff Keighley related showcases, they've shown off many things relating to Final Fantasy VII. I think it was back in 2021, December of that Video Game Awards, they actually revealed that the PC version for Final Fantasy VII Remake was coming for Integrate. And then following up after that, we got to see things like Summer Games Fest showcase to us Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So expect a whole lot of that, and that, quite frankly, that makes me think that we're going to be getting a PS5 Pro trailer or some DLC announcement coming during the Video Game Awards later on this year. Jeff and them are pretty cool, man. It's not like Konami and Jeff's relationship, you know? Him and Square Enix are on good terms. Again, I do want to apologize to you guys for taking so long with the Final Fantasy VII Remake hard mode guide. It's just things have been so crazy on my plate from the beginning of this year up until recently where things have started to slow down. So I wanted to make sure to get that to you guys because I know a lot of comments have been asking for it, and I'm glad to have finally dropped it, and the support on it has been absolutely tremendous. If you guys haven't seen it yet, check out down below, pinned in the comments, is the hard mode guide. It absolutely breaks Rebirth and makes playing the game insanely trivial. It's funny to make it work. I really do like this build, and I think it can be fine-tuned even more. I think it could be perfected, and I will be working at bringing more character guides. I'll be working at bringing challenge guides as well. So in that video's comments, comment what challenge would you like to see next. Be sure to like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe if you are new. More Final Fantasy VII Rebirth videos are on the way and you don't want to miss them. My name is BltzZ, and thanks for watching.